consumption this week, I have really been playing with giving rest to my mind, creating plenty of space for rest for my mind. Just space to sit and drink tea and think about nothing, really allowing the mind to have time to come into quiet outside of a formal meditation practice. Just during the day, I've been playing with this practice of allowing space for my mind. And alongside that, I have been going into very intense periods of focused activity. So, moving between this rhythm, creating this rhythm between rest for the mind, where the mind can digest, it can slow down, it can come into a space of rest and rejuvenation, and then going into very focused, intense activity. And what I've noticed is that this is a really good rhythm because the focused, intense activity becomes highly productive. The rest allows, it's like the muscles of the mind get time to relax and prepare to go into motion. And when they then go into motion from a space of rest, they are especially accelerated and active, productive, beneficial, very efficient. So the productivity also has a different quality. It's not stressful, quite the opposite. It's not rushed. It has a quality of coherence and flow. And I notice it shows up, the result of this rhythm shows up in very specific ways. So I noticed, for example, that the movements of my body became effortlessly more coherent and precise. The movements of my body became more precise. So, for example, if I was ladling a spoonful of salad out of the salad bowl into my plate, and you've got tricky bits of beetroot and lettuce falling off, about to fall off the spoon, I was able to hold it in an easy, coherent way, handling this very tricky balance, but being able to move the spoonful of salad onto my plate without spilling even a small speck of the grated beetroot. And I know that that's a very specific detail, and you may think that that's insignificant, but it's not. Everything is in the detail. The smaller, finer aspects of our spiritual practice actually show up in the details of our life. And I would say that for me, the details of every aspect of my being show up in the small movements. Because I have a dance background, I'm very aware of how my inner state affects my small movements. So in that one movement, everything about my state of being was present. If I was in a different state, I know I would have spilt some of that beetroot, or the lettuce would have fallen off the spoon. But it didn't. There was greater coherence in my entire Akashic field as a result of this rhythm from rest to focused, precise action. Adornment this week, I've been thinking about the depth of attention that I give to my clothes. And again, I know that for many people, clothes will seem really superficial, but bear in mind that I'm about lipstick and enlightenment. You can have the full spectrum of everything, right from the very material, the enjoyable, the pleasure of clothes, all the way through to full enlightenment. So I'm wearing a dress today that I actually bought several years ago for a TV show that I was presenting. And so I chose this piece of clothing very carefully and with great delight. And one thing I've noticed over the years is that the quality of attention that I have when I'm purchasing a piece of clothing actually impacts the way that I experience wearing that piece of clothing. And it also impacts how long that piece of clothing stays available to me in good condition in my wardrobe. So I really enjoyed making the purchase of this particular piece. I enjoyed wearing it. There was a great sense of delight and achievement in this television show. And so every time I now wear it, it sits on the body differently. That's the other interesting thing about attention. When you give a quality of attention to your clothes, a quality of attention that is delighted and has depth and has joy and has appreciation, the clothes actually move differently on your body. They sit differently. They appear differently. You actually look different. You look more put together. You look a particular way because the quality of attention that you give to that piece of clothing actually then becomes projected through your own field, so that when people look at you, they pick up that quality of attention. So it's a very interesting thing, again, lipstick and enlightenment, the delight in material, the delight in clothes, delight in dressing well. It's about the quality of attention because everything in the universe responds to attention. Every particle in existence responds to attention. And I have noticed this without a doubt, that pieces of clothing that I have bought with appreciative attention, they behave differently when I wear them, and they live differently in my wardrobe. With regards to sadhana this week, I've been really reflecting on how sometimes sadhana happens through you and happens to you. That's certainly been my experience this week. So I have not had a focused practice. It's been more a question of, as I go through my day, I'll notice that my prana is happening in a particular way. The breath is moving in a particular way. I'm waking up with particular mantras moving powerfully through me. I'm experiencing mantra and sound in my dreams, in my sleep time. So when I have this type of experience, I just go with it because something is happening. The sadhana is having a particular impact. And in this period of time, I don't want to try and control it. I don't want to try and go very rigid and be very structured. I allow the movement, the impact to happen through me. And I just ride that wave. Inside my mind this week, I've been thinking about willpower. Willpower. I mentioned earlier this rhythm of going between rest for the mind and then going into very focused activity. And the focused activity is being driven. There's plenty of momentum behind me at the moment because I have particular goals that I want to achieve. And I've noticed something very interesting about willpower is that when I think from my navel, so from the third center, the willpower has a lot more impact and drive behind it. When I think from my navel, it's like I'm activating my willpower. And this, in a way, is no surprise because we know that this is the space that willpower is generated from in the body. So, in the yogic science of the body, the navel area is the space where willpower is generated. And that's one of the reasons when we chant Aum, for example, or when we chant Ah, it's advised that you feel the vibration in the area of your navel because you are literally strengthening your willpower. So I've taken that a step further and I've been playing with this idea and this practice of thinking from this part of my body, thinking from my navel, generating powerful thought patterns from the navel, because now those thought patterns become charged with my willpower. So, my idea is that that will generate the fulfillment of my goals more powerfully and swiftly because there's the momentum of my willpower behind those thoughts. I'm already seeing the impact in the sense that I'm feeling more substance behind my desires and behind the actions that I'm taking towards fulfilling those desires. I'm sure this is something I'm going to come back and speak more about through the weeks as I go forward. But for now, I am really enjoying this practice of thinking from my navel. It's powerful. I can feel, it's palpable. I can feel the momentum in my body and in my own Akashic field around me.